This comparative analysis at the University of Iowa has been going on forever. Close to 26 years. That's as long as Kirk Ferentz has been at the helm. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like the video and subscribe. The pros and the cons, the good and the bad, sometimes the elite, the excellent, and the deplorable and horrific. Maybe it's starting to balance out to a certain extent. We know the old joke about the Iowa offense. It's a clown show. It's the worst in college football. It was actually better last season. 117th. That's actually better than it's been. About 20 spots up from the very worst in college football. Number 72 in scoring offense. Wow. That's an explosion. Offensive coordinator Tim Lester coming in from the MAC where he was the head coach, and he has a history of developing wide receivers. Maybe that unit is making progress. Again, with Iowa, it's the pros and cons. The stability is remarkable. We just mentioned 26 years, Kirk Ferentz on the sideline. With 2 more wins, he becomes the all-time Big Ten coaching leader for wins. A lot more losses than the guy he's replacing, Woody Hayes at Ohio State. But still, the all-time leader in Big Ten wins. Longevity, but also success. Iowa's won 2 Big Ten championships under Ferentz, but it's been a long time, 2002 and 2004. There was a stat that I came across the other day where Iowa is one of only 5 programs in the country that has all winning seasons since the college football playoff era started in 2014. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Iowa. That's truth. That's a fact. They are one of those teams that never has a losing season. However, of course, the other 4 are playing for national championships. Iowa not coming close to a national championship. So the stability is balanced by not mediocrity by any stretch, but not necessarily elite football play. It's been on that side of the ball, the defensive side, and of course the special teams, and we will get to it in just a second. But let's start with the offense that could be changing, that could be improving. It showed signs last season, and now possibly the best quarterback at Iowa since Nathan Stanley left campus in 2019. Mark Gronowski, who's won 2 national championships at the FCS level. He threw for over 10,000 yards and 93 touchdowns. However, we have yet to see him throw the football. Shoulder injury kept him out of spring drills. And he's also mobile, something we haven't seen out of an Iowa quarterback in quite some time, aside from what we saw out of Brendan Sullivan as the backup. And unfortunately, no reliable backup as Sullivan has taken his skills to Tulane. Caleb Johnson, arguably the best running back in college football, the Doak Walker Award winner, off to the NFL, replaced capably, though, we believe, by Jazz Patterson and Kamari Moulton. Those guys have seen meaningful carries, meaningful snaps against good teams in meaningful situations. So they've already toted the mail when it's mattered. So maybe not replacing Caleb Johnson in the high-end talent, but really good at running back. You've got possibly the best wide receiver combination at Iowa since fill in the blank. It's been quite some time. In Jacob Gill, 35 catches last season, and Reese Vanderzee. We're not selling the wide receiver core as being really good, but it could be significantly better. The offensive line, we've got Logan Jones. It was a big, big day when Logan Jones bypassed the NFL, put it off for 1 more year to come back to Iowa. He's one of the best in the business. And also Jennings Dunker, a fine player up front for Iowa. And, of course, we've got Zach Ortworth. We've got Adam Ostrenga at tight end. They should be able to fill in capably. Of course, this has been tight end U. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about the defense. It's been exceptional over the past decade plus, especially about the last 5 years. But in 2024, a disappointment. Doesn't look like it on paper. 11th ranked scoring defense in the country and number 20 in total defense. That's excellent for most programs, but not for Phil Parker's unit, and you would have had to have seen them play from week to week. A lot of blown coverages in the secondary, a lot of blown plays back there. Lost the Iowa State game much because of breakdowns in the secondary, and just the total team performance on defense against UCLA and Michigan State should have not occurred against 5-win teams. So Iowa lost 2 games in 2024 that they normally do not blow against lesser teams. All right. Looking forward, an experienced bunch moved on to the NFL, and that's why so much was expected, because a lot of production, a lot of talent was in play for 2024. Those guys move on to the NFL, and so a lot of youth and inexperience, but not up front with Ethan Hurkett, really good player. Aaron Graves could be a star. Max Llewellyn came on down the stretch of games in November for the Hawkeyes in 2024. Jaden Harrell, Carson Shabar, they have waited a long time to fill in at linebacker. They finally get their chance. Xavier Wampa was the 5-star recruit. Much has been expected of him. He's been a bit of a disappointment. He could be a breakout star. And this could be the thinnest and least productive Iowa secondary. More question marks in the secondary than there have been for quite some time. Place kicker and punter. Special teams, always positive at Iowa, and excellent over the past several seasons, especially Drew Stevens and Reese Dakin as a combo, probably the best in the nation. Now let's look at the Iowa schedule. This could be an issue. It's much tougher than it was just last season. They've got to go on the road to Iowa State. And actually, they get the toughest games at home. So if you believe in the Kinnick mystique, this might be a good thing, because maybe Iowa pulls off those much heralded upsets at home against the likes of Oregon, Penn State. They also have Minnesota and Indiana at home. So if they can pull out those games, then maybe they've got a chance at a special season. But if the talent on those teams is just way too much for them, then they go on the road for teams that are comparable to them in Wisconsin, Nebraska, and an interesting date playing USC on the road at the Coliseum. And again, they've got the Cyhawk game at Iowa State, where they've been pretty successful in taking on the Cyclones, although they lost at Kinnick this past season. In recent years, Vegas has undersold Iowa football, usually placing them around 7.5 wins. They've got a couple 10-2 finishes in the last 5 years, and typically eclipse the 7 wins. Of course, 8-4 this past season. But I think Vegas is pretty much on the money this time around because of the schedule and because of the possible health issues with Mark Gronowski and no reliable backup at the quarterback position. Question marks on defense. It's going to be a good defense. We know that. Phil Parker is going to make it work, but is it going to be an elite defense? The offense is going to be better, but how much better? I just think with this schedule and also the dynamic of playing the most difficult teams at home. So if that Kinnick magic is working against the likes of Penn State and Oregon, maybe that's a great thing for Iowa, because they can pull off the major upsets that they would have little chance of winning, because look at their track record in recent years against elite teams. 1-14 since 2019 against the top 25. 0-6 the last 6 times out against top 10 teams. And we're not talking about playing respectable football and losing close games. Getting annihilated by an average of 36-6. Iowa's lost its 6 top 10 matchups since beating Minnesota in 2019 against teams that finished in the top 10 6 straight times, getting outscored 215-34. So Penn State's rolling in. Oregon, Minnesota should be good. Illinois, those are the toughest home games. Iowa plays teams pretty much on its level on the road, meaning Nebraska, Wisconsin, USC. Interesting dynamic there, because it could break right for Iowa to break through, or it could be a downer that they've got to play the teams on their level on the road, and then maybe the sure losses are at home. We shall see. Your thoughts about Iowa football down below. Keep it locked in here at the Voice of College Football, because we're going to continue our predictions throughout the off season right here at the Voice of College Football.